Now, give it a sec. Give
Wonderful.
it a second. Let it load for a second.
Let it load.
Yeah, it's being
There
slow.
we go.
All right,
Got a
you.
notification. Wonderful. Hi, everybody. I'm Nathan. Welcome to Kansas City Oasis, your faith-free alternative to faith-based community. We're going to be having some poetry today, a little bit of a departure from regular uh, our regular lineup, but we are going to enjoy this a lot. If you've never been to Oasis, we welcome you to our community, virtual though it may be. And just a little bit about us and our community. We have 5 core values that are people are more important than beliefs. Meaning comes through making a difference. Reality is known through reason. Human hands solve human problems, and be accepting and be accepted. That's what we think is the key to having a community, and we try to encourage those as much as possible. We are excited to have 2 poets and writers and educators here today that are going to be sharing some of their poetry with us, Polly Alice McCann and Natasha Ria El Skari. I believe I'm pronouncing those right. And they're going to be sharing with us a little bit later. First, we are going to have some music from Kemet Coleman. He's a Kansas City-based artist who does various types of music, but I think he does a fair amount of rap and things like that. If you want to look in the Zoom messaging, I think there's going to be some links to some of his work where you can find more about him. If you like what he's doing, feel free to support him and get his music, anything like that. And Kemet, if you're about ready, I think we are.
Oh, I'm live. Just kidding. I know. I'm definitely ready. How you guys doing out there?
I think everybody's doing pretty well. Everybody is really excited. I know I could use some music right now.
Yeah, me
So if
too.
you
This
want
is
to start whenever you are ready, if you want to throw in a little bit more about yourself, that's great too.
okay.
Show's yours.
Yeah, my name is Kemet Coleman. I used to go by Kemet the Phantom. I some of my popular songs are the Streetcar Song. I also did Straight Outta Kaufman with the Royals a few years ago. But my most recent release is called Black is Beautiful. It's an EP that I released in conjunction with the beer release from Crane Brewing Company in Raytown. Um, and it was just a part of a national call for breweries to support black creativity and black people. So yeah, it was a 5 song EP. I'm going to perform some of those songs for you today. This first song is called Black is Beautiful. Actually, hold on. The song is on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere that you stream. Hey yo, I'm back from the last Pan African. Triple blast, no Laplace, and it's black again. Triple stacks with the fashion and blacker skin. See the all black Aston, I'm backing in. You ain't half the man, give me your black and tan. Didn't have all the class, but I'm passing them. They always said if you were black, you were half a man. Sound like Mace, but I didn't have a half a gram. I'm from the land of Monet and Laugh-A-Gram. Why you didn't think Kemet had the master plan? Coming out of Killer City, had to make me a committee, cause I didn't have a ditty. I bet you didn't hear me. Black. Metaphor silly. Black thoughts here, but you think I'm Big Willie. Bars from the top like I'm coming out of Philly. Guarantee where I'm coming from, so gritty. Used to be the victim of a black self-pity. Just because I didn't know what black nuts get me. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Hey,
Black
Kemet,
is
your
beautiful.
track is not playing.
Say what?
We hear your lovely singing,
Uh
but
huh.
your
The
track,
music.
yeah, your music is not playing.
Oh crap. Well, it is poetry day, right? So that's
Yeah,
That's
basically
right.
that's perfect.
If it makes you feel better, I actually didn't realize completely that you didn't have music going should have probably caught that, but it sounded good. And if you had just kind of pulled that off and like, oh no, it wasn't supposed to have music, I probably would have been like, oh man, that was awesome anyways.
Gotcha. All right, we should be able to hear it now.
Play it again from the top.
Yep. What about now? All right, cool. Hey yo, I'm back from the last Pan-African. Triple blast on the past and it's black again. Triple stacks with the fashion and black skin. See that all black ass and I'm back and then. You ain't give me your black and tan. Didn't have all the class, but I'm passing it. They always said if you were black, you were half a man. Sound like Mace, but I didn't have a half a gram. I'm from the land of Monet and Laugh-A-Gram. Why you didn't think Kemet had the master plan? Coming out of Killer City, had to make me a committee, cause I didn't have a ditty. I bet you didn't hear me. Metaphor silly, black thoughts here, but you think I'm Big Willie. Bars from the top like I'm coming out of Philly. Guaranteed where I'm coming from, so gritty. Used to be the victim of a black self-pity. Just because I didn't know what black nuts get me. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful. Black is beautiful. Kicking racism in a chest like that. Invisible women and men are next, I bet. But the prisons and sentences are still quite black. Remember when Reagan was giving black folks crack? Before him was Nixon, so where you think he got that? Remember when Lyndon was kneeling on our neck? The precision of Dr. King got us where we're at. Every president in this country held black folks back. Thanks for listening, we've been saying that. Tired of attending visitations, sending prayers to the Lord like please send these black folks back. Let me get a little silly with them in a minute. Watch me kick some shit that make Rakim a little sentimental. One man show, third eye so instrumental. Said I'd never make it, so I hesitated in the middle. Deep in the black where it's beautiful. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful. Black is beautiful. It's beautiful. Black. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Black is beautiful. I don't know the first time I was ever called black, but I knew the first time I was ever called whack. Through time, but I'm to practice now, a little average, cause I know the beauty of Africa. Even black people will laugh at you. On average, the American people know the false narrative. Happy slaves and black faces, this is awfully imperative that it all gets a clarity. From solidarity, this shit isn't a charity, cause black visions are scary. See, like autism and therapy, this is seen with hilarity. Talking about prosperity, white allies, they are parroting. My flow has regularity. You cannot embarrass me with your status and pedigree. I flunked all of my classes, and now the ones ahead of me. Thank you, Lala and Larry D. The ones who believed in me when my teachers deleted me. They thought they defeated me, but I'm black and I'm beautiful. Thank you so much.
That was great.
Thank you.
By the way, now you can do it either way and know that it sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's that I actually chose these songs that I'm gonna play is because I kind of felt like they were really just poetry on top of music. So yeah, I mean.
Right. No, it feels like that. That's a good set.
Thanks.
Man, yeah. So everybody, if you haven't checked in the chat for Zoom, you can find Kemet's Venmo, his PayPal, everything like that. You can find that in the Zoom chat. And yes, Black is Beautiful, I believe is the name of that song. That's good. Look him up. All right, so another quick announcement for everybody. Community group signups are going to be closing this week. If you are new or if you haven't been in a community groups are just basically smaller gatherings of people. People can meet in their homes normally. We haven't really been meeting my community group in homes for quite a while now. But we usually weekly or bi-weekly meetings where people can get together in a smaller group community and kind of, share maybe a little bit more with each other. It's more personal. It's a little bit more what you make of it, whether that, you have a little potluck or if you want to discuss certain topics. It's a little bit more, just personal, smaller. It's an extension of the community that we want to build here. So if you want to sign up for that, that is on our Facebook page. You can sign up for that this week. I don't know if we have any other details with that. Mark Dixon, I believe, is working on that. If you need extra details, I think you can contact Mark. But yeah, think about joining up with that. It's a great way to meet people. I personally love community groups. It's one of my favorite parts of being a part of the community. Let's see, we're going to move on. I think Alice McCann is going to be sharing with us now. Polly, are you about ready to hop on and take the show?
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to do a quick introduction while you kind of get all your stuff set up completely. Everybody, Polly and Alice is a poet and poetry educator, currently a professor for MCC Community College, which I personally went to, though we didn't go to the same campus apparently, which is too bad. I think we would have gotten along swimmingly, but yeah, educator for 10 years or more, I think is what I understood. And you said that on the Facebook introduction, it said that you like to paint the internal heartland. Was that a specific term that you use? Like, it seemed like that had a lot of meaning maybe to you. Am I right?
I think I invented that. I think I like to, I always say that I only deal in invisible things like poetry and dreams and things like that. So sometimes I feel like my work isn't very reasonable or realistic, but it really makes me happy and I love sharing. So
for sure. You said that you've been a part of the collection The Very Edge with some other people. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. This is The Very Edge. It came out, let's see, let me put this other book down. This is The Very Edge. It's a collection of poetry in English, Spanish, and French. I edited it with another author, Araceli Esparza. And we put out a call for poetry and art, and it's just really incredible. People from all over the world. We had really fun on our Zoom meeting last October, meeting everybody and talking about poetry. So I recommend it.
So when you say French, English, and Spanish, are you saying like each poem is in those three languages, kind of like a Rosetta Stone type of situation?
Oh, I would have loved
or are you
it.
talking about like there's different pieces in different languages that are just in like just French?
I would have loved that, but instead we just left each poem in its original language. It was inspired by Juan Felipe Herrera, who came to Kansas City a couple years ago. He was the poet laureate and the national poet laureate, and he gave a kind of a workshop for the Latino Writers Collective and told somebody raised their hand and said, what language should I write my poetry in? And he said, why would you pick one? Just write it in whatever language you want. And I love reading poetry in different languages and writing in different languages. So I thought, why don't we just put all the languages in one book? So a lot of people who were interested in this were people who translate poetry into other languages, people who, one of the poets had done her master's thesis on Mark Twain, translating it into Catalan, I think, and French. So it was people who loved language and were poets. It was an uber extreme nerdy experience, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that sounds like a tough thing to do, but that is very interesting.
Yeah.
I know I can read Spanish just a little bit, and unfortunately I can't really read French, but it does sound really nice. And I think poetry in other languages is beautiful to hear, even if you can't understand what it specifically means. So that's definitely something that I would love to look into. Could you hold that book up one more time so I can see what it looks like? Yeah. Just so that when I'm The Very Edge poems. definitely exciting. I don't know if we have that in the chat. If we could put that in the chat, that'd be wonderful. Just
Sure,
the
I
title,
will.
in case people want to look back and they can't think of what exactly it is. It'll be writing in the chat on Zoom. That'd be
Yeah,
great, everybody.
It's got beautiful artists inside, like this artist here, Mano Sotelo. So we featured artists, and the artist who did the cover design is now our poetry editor in residence.
That's
Um,
exciting.
Yeah.
That's some good illustration. I like the style. So yeah, I think that's it. Unless there's anything else you want to specifically go over, I would love to hear some of your poetry.
Okay, I'm ready. I picked out 5 poems for you guys today, and I'm really, really glad to be here. And I'm thankful for Kemet for his music. And that was awesome. And I loved it with music and without, with just lyrics. And poetry is just lyrics. And so I'm going to just read today. My first poem is called WWDD. And I thought I was going to have trouble finding some poems to read to you because, as I said, I feel like my poems are not rational and not reasonable. And so maybe they wouldn't be great for this group. And I thought, no, actually, I do have a reason for being a poet. And I really think there is a way that it helps the world. And one of the reasons I decided to be a poet was a quote I read from an author, Abraham Heschel. He says, "Poetry, we turn to words, not to use them as signs for things, but to see the things in light of the words. In poetry, the words speak, and in our own civilization, in which so much is being done for the cause of the liquidation of language, the realm of words is like an arsenal for the spirit, where words are kept full of power. They inspire us and keep us alive." So I found that quote like in a library book in college, and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do this other thing I thought about. I'm going to be a poet and an artist. So that quote has kept me going. My first poem is called WWDD, and I thought it's really about people and how people are important. So, I've always wanted, not the shoes from the Wicked Witch of the East. Silver or red makes no difference. They look uncomfortable. No, I would like the tights. Striped tights would mean I was magical. That I wake up after dark, I could project myself into visions right with smoke. But usually, I don't think about that. I think about, what would Dorothy do? She makes a plan, starts on a path, really any path that might be right without too much, I could generously call it, fact. And then she invites someone to come along beside her. Doesn't matter what kind of person, animal, vegetable, mineral, she loves them all. Their fears, she feels them. Their wants, she wants them. Why? Maybe when you grow up in a flat, gray world without a friend, then you find the place where everyone wants to tell you their story. And for the first time, people are listening. And for the first time, people are waiting for you to answer. And you know you don't have all the answers. So you simply say, come with. The next one is, I picked it because I felt like it was about reality. This is from my book that came out last spring for National Poetry Month, Puss in Boots. And this one's called Sequins. Sequins. Mom and I drive to the Folly Theater with the top down. The sky our road to get free tickets to the baseball game. Then to the stable where S has been lunging a horse in the shiplap white barn. Dinner's leftovers from the dinner party last night. 5 of us were here, eating Indian food round the table, reading a hybrid play, a spoken word poetical story. Everyone smiles, though it's about someone who's just about to find their truth. I wonder why people love to play parts, read lines, be someone else. I wonder at friends around the table that such a time exists like this, when dogwood flowers rise, iced tea gets watered down into an evening of star talk. Yeah, I know. There are wars going on, and I'm the biggest doubter in the universe. But poetry is my thankful cup, where I put threads and buttons, pins and notions, sequins, the tiny shiny things. I know the items of a day listed out can never show the heart, the ragged edges, the torn parts mended, the seams pulling. But here underneath, I think, hope will spring up, and with those loose threads, I will sew on new wings. So my third poem I picked, thank you. Here, I'll turn the view around so I can see everybody more. There's everybody. I see some smiles. So I tried to pick some poems from Kansas City I thought you would like. I've lived here my whole life except for college and a few other times. This one is really short. I picked this poem to be about hands because you said human hands solve human problems. And during the pandemic, I had just published this book and I had been on the radio, and Vala Art Gallery did a little reading for me. And I was super exhausted because I wrote the book in 40 days with revising all new poems, writing a few new ones. Yeah, so it was very tiring. So I was pretty drained and didn't write any poetry during the pandemic, but I did write a few things. And so sometimes I'll put down a note to remember I want to write a poem, but I'll forget to write it. So when I come back to my notebook, I'll have little scraps. And this is what I found in my notebook the other day. I'm going to call it My Hands. Here's the whole poem. My hands, my mother, the moon, Emily Dickinson. That's all. I think I wanted to write a poem about each of those things and I didn't. And here's another pandemic poem. You think poets arrange words like a nosegay of flowers, stalks in hand. You peer into my poem, hoping to find a gem. But I tell you, look deep, there in the lifeline. You see that sand? Poems are what's left over when I open my clenched fist and laugh. Thank you. All right, let's see. And if I can find this last one, I think I left it out here. I've got time. Do I have time for two more?
Yes.
Okay. All right, this one I picked, tried to pick a lot of poems about poetry. This one I picked because I felt like it was about making a difference. Macaroni. After the poetry festival, everything I say is a poem. All my words rocked in another person's rhythm. Sweet, like when we danced on the porch or pushed off on the porch swing. Our feet swooping up slowly, moving forward like a canoe, slipped to shore, swinging back in time, back when I could see the whites of people's eyes. And the pupil too, the iris, so blue, so brown, so green. Green, like the grass I rolled in as a kid, covering me with tiny paper cuts. Like my lips now, so cut with words. Brown like the earth Grandpa grew strawberries in, so deep with roots. Blue like gathering ponds on every nearby farm, refracting, reflecting, light like lips, bruised blue from 100 words, knocked sideways by elbows of songs. Remember that song we used to play on the piano? That guy, he went to town and he stuck a feather in his hat and he called it something. That's how I feel after 3 days and 3 nights of words that I'll never get tired of, words that mend my broken harp one string at a time. If I had a name for it, I'd call it something too, if I had a name for it. Okay. I have one more short one and I have a long one, but I don't have my time clock on. Do I have time for one or both?
Both.
No, Nathan? I have time for both? Okay. So the last one I picked is the short one, and then I have a long one to end on. This one's called Scissors. And I thought I would pick it because I felt like it was about being accepted and accepting others. And I think this is one of the last things I went to before things shut down. Scissors. It's not a sewing circle. It's not crafts. It's not the ladies' brigade. Not a bazaar. There's no Tupperware here. No Avon. But here we are in January, under the blowing heater, in the sunny warehouse west of Midtown, cold as white cotton. We sew and mend around the maker's table at the Echo Upcycling Store. One embroidery reads, "Fuck cancer." Another has no words at all. But we are safe here in this space together with a bit of string and sharing the scissors between us. All right, I couldn't decide which one to end on, but thank you so much. I see everybody waving and clapping. This is fun, as I'm always helping other poets and editing poets, but I don't get to work on my poetry as much as I want. I took all my poetry notebooks in a basket to work on them and then didn't do it last week. But so I really appreciate this invite. And I was thinking, what would be a way I could help the world have more poetry? And I decided, what if we, instead of trying to edit 2 books a year, just adding 2 books a year into the world of poetry, I thought, what if I started an editor in residence program? So I would train one person to edit poetry, and then next year they could be the editor. And that way I could kind of grow it like a tree of poetry. So I hope that works out. We just started that. This is a poem I wrote about poetry a couple years ago because there was one of those internet contests that said you could win $10,000. So this is my $10,000 poem, and I didn't get any money for it. I can hear my mom laughing in the other room about that. This is called Excelsior. What is a poem? Is it something you write and then just hope it's useful for something? Asks my son, standing on one leg in the kitchen. The kitchen where we make pot roast sometimes on Sundays and tamales in the summer, where ketchup flies and paper lanterns hang under the chandelier, where the dog-eared calendar sits crookedly and Grandma Twinkie reigns as queen, opening her mail so carelessly, then slowly sipping her coffee, black and white, every morning. What is a poem, he asked the poet, on the anniversary of her liberation, on the anniversary to the day, 6 years ago, when she became the escape artist, who left with everything she could carry, 2 mattresses, 1 old car, 2 children, and her words. Her words she stuffed inside her shoes because her pockets were full of ashes. Oh, and the cat came too. Here's what I answered. A poem grows inside of you over time, small as a strawberry seed, so you wouldn't notice. It takes root behind your teeth where words form, and you must spit them out, so help you God, or you will choke trying to swallow them. Poems are what seeds are made from, because anything could form from them. And I mean anything. A poem is born when people rise up, when people are lost through lies and conquests, through the theft of golden heads of corn, the smothering of wool blankets, the lies of interpreters, and the handful of seed beads stitched into hides. A poem forms an empty space between threads, sewn in the shape of the hand of friendship, now behind glass in a dimly lit gallery. Poem hides like groundnuts secreted underground inside its shell, like when a man loves something enough to wander through fields, to go to work at night, all day, put his science into words, share his recipes, fold them into a book, and carry them to family after family. Poems spring from words scrawled on a guitar, carried by a man traveling on the road, eating out of cans warmed in the fire. Poetry is handwritten lyrics on a matchbook, a life that can never be unsung. Poems are hard to kill. They coo like pigeons. They run like the tears of fathers into their hands when they sit waiting for their babies to return home. When a child on the border dies because no one will give her a cup of water, poems rise up to light her candle. Poems rise up to call her lovely and place a crown on her head. Poems walk vigil in the night when others go to sleep under blankets of forgetfulness or folly. Poems are like peas under mattresses. Poems guard the gates to happiness by hiding in locks, springing out metaphors into the palms of unsuspecting hands with jolts of electricity. I think they think this is funny. But when they're tired of holding that secret truth of the universe silently in their bellies, they sink down, heavy as stones and quarries, and if we lie down with them and dream, we might hear the distant crystalline sound of our future, an almost invisible hum, like the sound of the sun, the sound it makes before it rises when the world is still gray. Poems float in the ocean where windrows curl. Poems float like seaweed into pieces of what used to be, the portents of what have always been. They sink into the depths where no man can go, where the breath of the world bubbles up faithfully. Poems count the lost deep secrets as friends, whisper their stories to refugees, hanging on by the memory of their mother's voice, singing to the moon at night. Should you meet a poem on the road, invite it to dinner, cook your best meal, like you would make for me, and those peanut butter carvies I always make, the secret family recipe. Give them plenty to drink afterwards, and coffee, with cream. Let them have grandma's king-size bed, and the quilt with the pink and blue wheels. Tell the dogs to be nice, and not to jump in the night. Sing it a lullaby, and then only then, it will be yours to keep. A poem will stay with you all through your life, and you will never, never be alone. Thank you.
Whew. I was getting lost in that. I was afraid I would like just kind of keep thinking after you were done, and then you'd be like,
Thanks.
"Oh, that was good. I liked that a lot." Do you do a lot of knitting? Like that scissors one seemed very very personal.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
a lot of sewing in my artwork.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's awesome. Because like I just felt like you really captured like my aunt. She passed away a while ago. She did a lot of sewing and quilting and stuff like that. That was her thing. So like hearing you describe them like that, that's great. I've never heard someone do poetry about that type of thing. So it was very, very good. I liked hearing that. Thank you. All right. Whew. So yes, everybody, if you want to hear more, Polly Alice McCann, thank you again for doing that. And we will be taking a break now for about 10 minutes. If you have anything you want to do, you want to grab some coffee or whatever, you take this time to do that. We are going to be going into what we call breakout rooms. So it's just going to random assortment. You're going to be thrown into smaller groups where you can unmute yourself, talk, share, meet yourself, introduce yourself to the community. Some of our poets and Kemet will probably be in some of those groups. So if you want to have some questions answered in person, this is a great time for that. So we will see you in 10 minutes. All right. I think we've got about everybody back. If not, everyone will be joining us in a second. Nikki, I don't know if you've restarted the recording. I'll give you a second to do that.
We are good to go.
We're good to go. Perfect. Perfect.
And
All
Ken
right.
has 2 songs for us.
Yeah, Kemet. Kemet, we only got to that one song, so I understand you're going to be doing 2 songs for us now. And then we'll be getting to Natasha for some more poetry.
Okay.
Ready? Promise we'll tell you if we don't hear the music this time.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. This next song is called Collection Plate off of that EP called Black is Beautiful. Find that Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Tidal, everywhere, YouTube. This song is called Collection Plate. Do you hear the music?
No. Share your
Okay.
computer audio.
Perfect. I got it that time. I was like, let me just stop right now. Okay, here we go. If you get that dough, better lay low. Coming close, call the po-po. It's like they seen a ghost and they want one more dose. Hey yo, I'm back in chiropractic, acting a fit. I know math, add up this shit. This shit they want me to get greed upon. I'm in the zone, so I know what I'm worth, and I'm teeing off my lady entrepreneurial. They planting bugs in my cereal simply because I am black to them. You know I've been practicing it. Say what you want when you packing it in. Brand new Ferrari, you drive like a Tario. Hood be watching me back in the den. How the F Kim be stacking the bins. These clowns got me cracking a win. Thinking this is an taxable grin. No 40 acres, no rapping for friends. Don't give a F if you clap at the end. You better lay low. And if you coming close, they call the po-po. They see I go, and they want one more dose. Better beware. Yeah. Osidos. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on 10, but I feel like that I've only begun. Come on in. If you think that you can come for the win, I'm on gin. But I act just like I'm fresh out the pen. I won't spin. But I'm mad that I so drunk on my friend. Hey. The city is chemist, the killing no limits. Some people go down, I'm going down with it. To be specific, I kick it prolific. I used to hate them, and name was Egyptian. White people see walking, know they encrypting like preachers who up in the open like Christian. With an epic your mission. If you get that dough, you better lay low. And if you coming close, they call the po-po. It's like they seen a ghost, and there's one more dose. You better beware. Hope you're enjoying the music out there. Oasis, Kemet Coleman. Yeah. All of my uncles be rapping the cues, but I feel like that I be the best in my crew. Y'all get to stepping like HBCUs. You messing with Jefferson haters, my dude. I got this cognac, you got the two. What the F you come in for 2 act the fool. Let's get this money, get women, get power, get ugly and celebrate. That's what I do. All of y'all rappers be spitting in thirds and thinking y'all kicking in prolific words. Watch me get silly with similes, verbs and kicking. You can know this beeping and hurts. You nerves and I got the blurs. You're running my all of your mumble your words. For the new rappers. Okay, I'm back with my fofo. Old school Cadillac with the low pro. Sending with a middle finger to the popo. You gon' need a little camera for your GoPro. Oh my goodness, I'm cooler with the natural. Used to get reluctant, clutch just a little bro. Nappy headed, I was born with an afro. No lies, my daddy when I had low. My auntie used to braid it in the cornrows. Never get a hella faded like a wino. I'm the greatest on the page and every line go. Hella hard, and don't tell them where mine go. I just wanna get a hit like a Fonzo. But I keep getting clipped like a lawnmower. Thank you guys, that was the end of that one. Collection Plate. Again, off of Black is Beautiful. A little bit more wordplay on that one. Yeah, just, you know, on some braggadocious stuff. But this next one is called Black and Rich in KC. One of my favorites. So let's see if we can get this going. And again, hope you're enjoying what you're hearing. The EP is called Black is Beautiful. I have another EP coming out in May. I have not announced it publicly, but it is true. So yeah, I mean, be on the lookout for that. It's called Eyes on the Street, coming out in May. This next one is called Black and Rich in KC. Music produced by me as well. Name one thing that can stop a black man. Win a poker tournament and got a crap pan. Over here collecting paper like a trash can. Hell yeah, still with the fantastic. What the F do you mean? That's the family. Every time I bounce back with a strategy. White folks in Popo all mad at me because I dropped out of college, no damn degree. Van Brunt, you mean Van Blunt, smelling straight like a skunk, about to skate for a month. Put the brakes on the money cause I can't take it with me in the middle in the city cause the hood too gritty. Sucking on just from the touch on my cell phone, even if my cell phone shit. I used to be witty, now I own cities. Straight from the bottom, name a rapper like Kimmit, but only God did it. I'm just alone for the ride, hopping on with the tide like Red On, man. Long way from home, hey mama, I did it. White allies, still villainizing me. You want beef, I turn you into a plaza fit. I'm undefeated, my dude, go ask for me. I remember when nobody used to pass for me. Black and rich in the city of Kansas City. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich in, we black and rich in KC Mo. Whoa. Oh my, no, he didn't. Holy JC Nichols. Mixed plate, extra pickles. So many haters in my rear view. I got a knack for it. I'ma never come down, never had a clear view. Until right now, cause I'm black and I'm proud. Apologize, I don't hear you. We don't act right, cause I'm black and I'm loud. And I'm back for the crown, like Phil Jackson in town. This is crack for the brown and the black. This is action around, satisfaction. The blackness is brown, cause the fact is around. 1 in 3 black men are down, and that means 1 in 3 kids got no black men around. And that's for the fact sheet you passing around. Left in the black and rich, when the man is the definition of black. In America, where government will just pack us in to a sale to the people that we just savages. Can you tell that I'm knuckleheads and just practicing? Kill every rapper trying to step up to Kemet. It's been a minute so you can tell your senator Kemet has never given up. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich in KC. We black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich in KC. You be black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich, we getting paid. I'm trying to say I won't make it. Black and rich. We black and rich. We black and rich. We black and rich. Yeah. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich and you'll be black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich. Black and rich in KC Mo. Black and rich in KC Mo. KC Mo. Black and rich in KC. Everybody kept telling me I had to move away from KC to be rich. Not that being rich is the only thing you should be focused on. But black and rich in KC. Thank you guys so much.
Good. I love that. Did I have to say, like, from the first time, like when we didn't have your music, like were those cuts intentional or were those things that just kind of cut out?
They were intentional.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I was like, those could work either way. But like
You never know.
You never know. You never know with Zoom. It's just one of those
That's right.
things. It's awesome. So that's all from your. Those are both in your Black and Beautiful album.
Yeah, those all three of those songs were in Black is Beautiful. I might do a new one. I'm not sure if I have it really memorized well, but I might do a new one at the last song.
Hey, whatever you feel like comfortable doing. If you want to push the boundaries a little bit, I'm sure we are more than good with that.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you. We are now going to hear from Natasha Ria El Skari. So, Natasha, I'm excited to hear some of your art. Natasha is, I forget if you said you run or you open or she's supposed to help start the Black Space Black Art Gallery.
I'm the founder and curator. Yes.
So that is definitely something, because I'm trying to get through some of the art museums and stuff like that in the area. I just haven't been to a lot of them, less than I would like, and that's definitely going on the list for me personally. But yeah, could you share a little bit more about that, and also your book Mama Sutra, and maybe some of your other pieces?
Sure. I'm sorry. I'm typing in the chat because someone asked me to. Okay. Well, yeah, my background actually is poetry, and it's so nice to be here with both Kimit and Polly, feeding these wonderful sides of poetry, which I just think are so fantastic. So I want to just first say a thank you to Kansas City Oasis for having me, and also for putting together such a great, diverse lineup. I love it. I've enjoyed myself so much this morning. Yes, I am the founder of Black Space Black Art. You all might be familiar with the murals that are throughout Kansas City with the Black Lives Matter mural. And 5 of those 6 murals were created by Black Space Black Art artists. And so I'm super excited about that. We also have our first national exhibit at the American Jazz Museum. And it's an African-American collective of visual artists. Many people ask, Natasha, are you a visual artist? No, I am not a visual artist. However, I am a lover of visual art, and I consider myself a creative and artist, and grew up around my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, who is a visual artist and taught all of us all the various modes of visual arts. And so I am a knitter more than anything else, in addition to poetry. I founded the Natasha Ria Art Gallery, formerly named the El Skari Harvey Art Gallery, with Warren Stiles Harvey, who also wanted a gallery. And I was super excited to do that with him. And so we started that in 2018, along with Black Space Black Art. And it's just been a really wonderful journey. I am a life coach as well. I'm an intuitive. I do a bunch of different things. Sorry, my screen is jumping all over the place and I'm trying to get it back.
Yeah, we're getting some kind of ping. I don't know if that's coming. I don't think that's coming from me. But if someone else is on here and you're unmuted, make sure that you're muted so that we're not getting any feedback. And
yeah, hold on, I'm trying to. Sorry. Yeah, I get a lot of phone calls and tings and everything else, so I'll have to apologize for that. I have it on Do Not Disturb, but I think my computer has a mind of its own. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit about my books. I am definitely a poet first. Like Kimit, I have 3 spoken word albums available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, as well. And that is like my first love is spoken word poetry. So I'll be doing a little bit of that today. And I tried my hand at nonfiction, which was the writing of Mama Sutra, Love and Love Making Advice to My Son. I am a feminist, and I feel very strongly in making women's lives better. And a part of that conversation needs to have teaching men how to have a female-focused lovemaking. And so these are conversations that I've had with my son, my daughter, my nephew, and many other young people, compiled into a book that really is great for couples who are already established, for new couples, for singles, for people just really wanting to dig more into their own discovery of their sexuality. I'm not a sex therapist, so this is just coming from, like I said, some mother wit, some intuition, and having amazing lovers and not so amazing lovers. So all of that compiled, really believing that the liberation of Black people is also the liberation of the sexuality, as well. Although the book has been read and appreciated by many. I also have a novel that I've written called Growing Up Senna, and it's a coming of age story about an African American girl. It's not necessarily autobiographical, but I do believe that each girl could probably find some pieces of herself in some or one of the characters. I think, did I answer that question?
Yeah, I'm glad that you proffer as like you're not a sexual therapist, but the fact that is that like having that conversation, having that, I don't know if stigma is the right word, but just the idea that you just never talk about anything related to sex is so important that even normalizing it is just such a important thing. And I think it speaks volumes that you're able to have those conversations with your kids, with your family. That's just a huge thing. And honestly, I think that gives a lot of hope for a lot of people. Like for me, even like just like that's the kind of thing that happens, that needs to happen, where people can normalize those conversations instead of being like, birds and the bees, go off and figure out the rest of life. So that's just I am very serious. I know we talked about it, but I would love you to come back sometime if you ever get the chance to give us a talk more specifically about that. But for right now, we are focusing on your poetry, which I'm very excited to hear. So if you don't have anything else you want to talk about, I'm good to just start listening.
All right, absolutely. I do feel like I need to give a little bit of background, but not too much on each poem. And this first poem I'm reading, because it is National Poetry Day, which is interesting because I think a lot of poets don't know that, because we're so big on April being National Poetry Month. And so I love that we have a day in March. I love that March is Women's History Month. And I also love that it comes right after Black History Month. So this is just really kind of my favorite time of the year. So I'm going with that theme and that focus. I wrote this poem specifically for the Real Women Rally in 2019, and I was asked to speak, and I thought about what it means to arrive. And so this poem is about that. I am here. I'm finally here. I'm here, y'all. I'm here today because years ago, I couldn't be. I was tired with divorce and 2 kids and single mom stuff. I am here because my grandmother scrubbed the floors of white people younger than her until she was in her 80s and always held her head high and praised us for our education. I am here because my mother picked cotton and cucumbers until 1970, and today, with her support, I have a master's degree. I am here because I am standing on the shoulders of women in my family who had men standing on their backs. I am here because I am tired of explaining reparations to people who are fighting for human rights everywhere else except right here at home. I am here without Spanx because fat Black women have been here and been beautiful and been twerking, whether you were looking or not. And we've been believing in our worth, even when men publicly shamed us. Thank you, Lizzo, for your anthem songs that scream, forget you, at the intersectionality of hate and hate. I am here because I breastfed in public 22 years ago and cursed out a white man who asked me to cover up and almost kicked out of the mall, and I still don't give a care. I am here because there are brown women who can't be. She's been cooking your food, growing your veggies, and changing your sheets, even when you make her job hard for her. I am here because I have to keep my children's windows tinted so they can stay safe from those who are supposed to protect them but don't. I am here because I am here. I am here because I know my choice is my right. I am here because my vote matters. I am here so some can check and see if I'm really here. I am here because it brings me pleasure to use my voice and body to tell you I am here. I am here because I love men but hate men's oppression. I am here to remind you that you don't need to do anything but love your cellulite stretch marks, love your low hanging breasts and gray hair. You were beautiful and you still are. I am here to remind you that inclusion is not sameness and oneness is not sameness, and that sameness should not exclude either. I am here because I carry the mother load, and even the people I love sometimes don't notice. I am here because I can, because women matter, and I'm tired of the tomahawk chop and women not being head coaches in the NBA, NFL, or MLB, and women are dying in KC streets. And my daughter worries about human trafficking when she's out with her friends. I am here because sisterhood has always sustained me. I am here because I refuse to hide or be small or be invisible for the comfort of the status quo of patriarchal trinkets of distraction. I am here for all the moms that can't be here and they are still in the fight in their kitchens, even though they aren't in the streets. I am here because I am angry and I will express it. I am here because I know love and I will live it. I am here because love wears an outfit of justice and peace and liberty and beauty. I am here only to leave. I have a party to go to. My twin nieces are turning 1, and this magical Black self never forgets to reach behind while marching ahead, lifting as I climb. I am here. Okay, I'm gonna try to fix my screen. If you could give me like 1 second. It's really weird not seeing anybody. This next poem I wrote to Asada Shakur, and it's a very old poem, but I think when we think about Women's History Month and we think about um, what is going on politically, recently there's a movie that came out that has had a lot of attention, Judas and the Black Messiah, and I think sometimes people don't understand that we still have political prisoners in this country. And Asada Shakur, who is the aunt of Tupac Shakur and has her own children and grandchildren that live over here, she went into exile in Cuba. When Donald Trump became the president, he immediately put a price on her head. And Cuba continued to protect her and did not allow anyone to come and capture her. Sister Asada Shakur is well into her late 60s and possibly into her early 70s now. And so when I think about the closeness that I have with my children and my family, as well as political beliefs, I just think about, and I used to really do a lot of prayer for Asada Shakur. So this is a prayer poem. O Spirit, transcend onto Cuba. As I lie awake, rot in my own schism, transition, as I hear my baby son give deep growls of peace in sleep, I cannot escape the need for a prayer. Transcend onto Cuba and into the heart of our then sister, now grandmother of the struggle. I just went to buy 40 love stamps, the ones that fold neatly and go into my soon empty checkbook. I figured no cost for freedom was too great. I scanned the pictures, some clearly cons, others presumably innocent, but she was prominent. Eyes like precious dough stare back at me. I tried to memorize the many names she calls, they call, have given her, forced her to take. I want to hug her, I want to tell her that she shouldn't be discouraged. There is a woman who, while having a very currently fledging moment, still speaks her name. A woman who too wants to be free and finally rocked the boat and was almost lost on her journey too, but made it and has her spirit. And yes, we are talking, we are chanting, we have named her latest brown baby doll after you, Asada, to take up the struggle of freedom. Oh Spirit, has your salt water finally concealed the wounds of false gunshots? Send her our prayers with revolutionary speed, our love on a purple note, and some peace, maybe a shot of tequila. Tell her, while she's given up everything and there are no words I can express to repay for her lost moments, that we embrace our freedom. So, Spirit, turn these words into restful sleep for Asada Shakur, for me. So I guess by now you all can figure out that I am a feminist, and that it can be a dirty word in certain places. But in addition to being a feminist, Black feminism really takes on a lot of different forms and typically includes the rights, privileges, and the liberation of Black children and Black men. And so white feminism and Black feminism do look very different in a lot of ways. And I think we're still figuring out how to come together because we have an overarching part of racism. And so when I think about the women of the past, I wrote this praise poem for Fannie Lou Hamer, which you all may or may not know much about Fannie Lou Hamer, but she was a sharecropper in the segregated South and did not have any formal education. She went in for um, a routine like checkup or surgery and was sterilized, which was very common practice in the South without her consent. And she ended up really being at the forefront as the voice of working class people during the civil rights movement and for the working poor. And, Martin Luther King, everybody was very well educated and they were from well-to-do families and they had the privilege to go out, but she took to the streets with them. And so this is my praise poem. Please look up Fannie Lou Hamer if you don't know anything about her already. I was sitting down crying about my current condition in my rendition of the aspiring middle class shuffle. I was crying and a voice said to me, "Get up and stop all that complaining." "Well, now, hear me out," I said. "I'm sick and tired of all this mess. It's just so hard and so much stress." "Yeah, yeah, yeah," the voice said. "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Hear now to this. In 1917, there was born Queen of the Dirt, a queen of the bloodied earth, through a uterus that had done it 19 times before. She would close the door to that part of heaven. Wishing to be white, this strong woman did as a girl, not as a desire to be, but as a way out of poverty. Cold nights, cornbread hymns, and mama's prayers, didn't fear death because she had been living as the walking dead, poverty bred. Mother, sister Fannie Lou, you knew what to do, and thank you for being the sacrifice. I know I look tall because I'm standing on you, and my lantern is burning. No sub-degree temperature or attitudes can stop me. My lantern is burning, fiery, and I will obey your command to let it shine on the red hills of Georgia, everywhere I go, in the jail cells of Birmingham, Alabama. I'm gonna let it shine in the content of my character. This little light, I am going to let it shine in the pride of my race. Let it shine. You better humble yourself when you walk into Starbucks, not to them, but to those who sacrifice closed skulls and perfectly aligned eyes, unsuckled breasts. I've been getting emails from Harriet Tubman, and she won't stop my legs from running to equality, away from the fists, blocking the soul's light. All the women of the past are coaxing me to rest but never weary, to non-movement. I'm frustrated because I want to be non-violent, but when it's acted upon me brutally, to the turbulence of Depo-Provera, Sister Fannie Lou might say, behold your wombs. Even if you lose a few, even if you decide to never pass life through it. Sterilized she was by a white man who thought he could control the population with his wicked hand, but she adopted 4 daughters anyway, because ain't no moral gonna stop the founder of human civilization from being a mother. Up ye mighty sex, Amy Garvey might say. Stand with your man, Winnie said, even when they take him away. These women are sometimes haunting me, searching me for bugs, tapping my brain away from complacency to the resolution and responsibility to feed them babies some knowledge along with those booty dances. I hear them say, I hear her say, switch your fanny to that voting booth, switch your brain in that book I never got to look. I heard Mother Fanny whisper to me, hold up your chest when they talk about me, make them look into that cockeyed, I don't deny the strength of me, and neither should you. Maybe you didn't hear her, but she wasn't talking to you. She told me, hold tight to those dreams like I did the Democratic Party. Hold on to the secret fear and use it as strength, but don't die at 60. That's when life's labor turns to fun. And farm that nation, girl. Farm that nation like I did that pig bank. And all I can say is yes, yes. Mother, sister, Fannie Lou Hamer, I shall do my duty to the spirit of the free African woman and her country. Mother Earth, many men, many children. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Do I have time for one more?
I'm all for it. Nikki, if you're fine with it, I'm good with it.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, let's do it.
It's a short one. I have always been very outspoken, and the times that I had a chance not to be outspoken, I chose differently, and I was outspoken, and I've really paid the price for that. But I'm grateful for it because I have lived such an amazing, unapologetic life, which sometimes can make you really unpopular. But I also recognize on my journey that there are women who have not had the same experience and have not had the same voice, who have been asked to be less of themselves and to show up less of themselves. And so I wrote this song, which I do not sing, but it's called a song for a particular person who I'm not going to name. And then the other title is Things Your Reflection Says to You. So if this is for any person, but I specifically write for women unless I state otherwise. But this is for anybody who has struggled with their silence. You know, Audre Lorde says your silence will not protect you. And it doesn't. It might serve you, but it really doesn't protect you. And so I just want to say to each of you, as I share this last poem, please hold your voice in high regard. You've been given that voice for a reason. You've been given that voice to speak out, to be kind, to be loving, to stand up for others who may not yet have their voice. There is a voice, a small voice, quiet and small, so small. I almost forgot her song. She had been thrown to the bottom of the closet. She had been pretending to be sleeping, even hiding, trying to run from where she didn't belong. That was before. That was the old me. I sang a line, just one line, in the car with my windows down, but I covered my eyes and kept my head forward. If I didn't look to the side, maybe they too wouldn't notice me. Spoke up only when spoken to. Now all this woman power has started coming through. I'm starting to speak exactly when I want to. I am a song, bold like thunder, soft like the rain that hangs off the orange leaves. I have changed, and this is a new season for me. I flirt with ready tongues, thirsty to catch a drop of me. I did not see my beauty, but now it is my duty to own this room. Needed me to light it up like the cigarette I don't need to look cool. I'm already that. If you can't give me some love, you better step back. I have been living small in the past, voiceless song, but she is so gone. Now I open my heart, unafraid to start a fire that will warm others. Healing had no place for the me that would not peep a sound. But now I know if it's gonna get done, I gotta roll up my sleeves and get down, loving the smell of healing work on me, the sound of my heart beats that beats when I am brave enough to speak my piece. This freedom is all in me. And I believe that is a damn good looking woman staring back at me. I am ready, 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 cooked and ready to be spooned. Baby, even a fork will do it. I am done living like I don't love it. I own each hair on my head in its various colors. The way my skin moves when I smile matches my hips. That is a complete woman. You better get it. Oh, this is the latest, and everyone wants one of these. I heard someone call it classic. I'll just settle for the divine me, better known as amazing. Now, if you want to park next to me, you better be full of it, joy, abundance, and prosperity. Did you hear the song? The one about being every woman? Honey, they just belt out of me. I don't cover the sound of my voice when I sing now. I open my hands so you can receive. Look at the lines. They will guide you to where you need to be. Powerful, powerful healing of the world gets started right here with me loving me. I am all that. I am all that. Don't you agree? Thank you.
That was wonderful. Love that. Your style is very personal, and I wonder, is the you say you emphasize the spoken word in your poetry. I'm beginning to think to understand why, because if I were to read what you just read, I don't think it would sound the same way. I don't think it would sound as good just me reading it or in my head, or even if I spoke it. So I think I'm understanding a little bit more about what you're talking about with that spoken word. It's very dramatic the way you read.
Right. And I do write for to be read aloud. I do have poems that are specifically written to be read, but spoken word and storytelling is a huge part of African culture, and it is something that African Americans were able to maintain um, even throughout their enslavement. And so storytelling is really highly respected, and oration, expression is such a huge part of culture. And I feel like I have a duty to continue that beautiful storytelling that I grew up hearing.
Well, we really appreciated that. It sounded amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we are going to have a little bit more music. Kemet, if you're ready, we're going to have you play for us one more time, one more song, and then we will be dismissed for the day. If you want to stay on a little bit afterwards, I think some people stay on sometimes and chat a little bit after, but we will be free after this song, I believe. So, Kemet.
All right. This next song is called Get Out. It's aka the Streetcar song. And as some of you might know, I'm also an urbanist, one who is interested with the relationship between the built environment and mankind. And so I always someone who takes opportunities to gain momentum, help gain momentum in a community or build community through my music, all kind of tied in through this lens. And the streetcar was an opportunity for me to address the need for public transit in Kansas City and the need for folks who don't have either literal mobility or economic mobility to have access. So really, streetcar is, obviously just a small tip of the iceberg of what's possible in Kansas City. But one of the other focuses I like to, and I've been challenging them, is to make sure that our east-west connectors in Kansas City are also just as invested in as our north and south. We see a lot of improvements on streets that go north and south, but east and west, the two sides of the city that really need connecting are our next frontier. So anyway, this is a pretty feel-good funk upbeat song called Get Out. Enjoy. All right, maybe not. Hold on, let's I might have to call an audible because that audio file did not work. Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, sorry about that. I will do, this song is called Roots. We'll have to do Get Out next time, or just look it up on my YouTube. All right, this song is called Roots. Never forget your roots. Hold the galaxy up in my palms like a Samsung. Overread and back and get it popping like a handgun. Noble couple killers, put your kids up for a ransom. 48 laws of power, they understand none. Had to make the music a business, they never ran none. Think about your mama's prayers in back of the van, son. I've been underestimated cause the kid is handsome. I'm the upper echelon, got my eyes on expansion. Now I'm getting older, the flow and catch like a tampon. Stop on motorcycle, the uterus at the phantom. Plant the seed so wife can give her mama grandson. Trying to get a deal when they said I never land one. Turn a couple down cause the money wasn't stand up. I be counting pennies and the labels in a mansion. Then Uncle Sam come, family with hands out. Looking up to me because this poverty's a damn job. Ain't nobody working cause of white people that ran out. Time to hit a lick, you hit the back and we gon' fan out. Thinking about the future, how you think that's gon' pan out. Privatize the prisons, now they profits in demand now. They say my people is lazy because we stand out. Bailed out the banks, why the F that ain't a handout. Crazy how you living in this world with double consciousness. Caught up in the web, now the boys never conquer shit. Wish the roller goes supposed to go for broke, but still I'm smiling. You can check the mileage. The man trick, it's the ghetto ballad. Why we gotta go to Jimmy Fallon just to see our damn roots. Plant the seed, and now you'll see the roots will grow. Trouble, so go where the strangest fruit will grow. You must dig to see the roots. How will you know where you come from and where you plan to go? No, they mad at me. Slave mentality, savagely, and the strategy of the masters they gallantly turn the black on me to a travesty. To the word until my brothers with no opacity. Till we implode ultra gravity, no capacity. Sad to see the audacity. I've been Carcinocal remix onto mathematics. We suffer gradually, that'll be cause the class is me. Understaffing hella pack of children on the section 8. Then the church say, make a way, keep the curse at bay. Building houses and communities for some not beautifully, but it's better than a black. From collection plate to the real estate, gotta say, there's a Cadillac and this somewhere up in the budget, but that's a different day. Brothers moving, yeah, round the way by the saints of pray. Why singing praise? Teen mothers trying to get some food on the dinner plate. But if they plant the seed and now you'll see the roots will grow. Trouble, so you'll swear the strangest fruit will grow. You must dig to see the roots. How will you know where you come from and where you plan to go? Plant the seed and now you'll see the roots will grow. The so knows where the strangest fruit will grow. You must dig to see the roots. How will you know where you come from and where you plan to go? Where you plan to go? Where you plan to go? Plan to go. Gotta know your roots. Roots. Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Never forget where you came from. That's a good message. I love it. I love it.
Stay authentic.
Well, everybody, if you are interested in supporting any of the artists that have been so gracious to be with us today, all of their information for either PayPal or other payment methods is on the chat in Zoom. So please feel free to go and look up their products, their music, their work. It's all there. We thank you for all being here. And again, if you want to stay on a little bit longer, I think some people are going to stick around and do some chat. But other than that, we'll see you next week.